The real reason why Trump is doing all of this. I ran across this video with Joy Reid on the Readout with her guest interviewing this guy. I can't recall his name, and I think it was a recent video. But I want you all to listen to this video. Make sure you pay very close attention to what he is saying and how he's saying it. And it gives a clear explanation on how and why the Trump administration is doing all of this. This is the number one reason why they're actually doing all this and putting in place this Project 2025. Please pay very close attention to this video. And I want you to look up, if you don't know the definition of multiculturalism, I want you to look that up and you will understand exactly what he's talking about and what Trump is trying to do. And when I heard this and when I seen this, I realized Trump is not this intelligent to pull this off. He is not bright at all. There are other people that's behind him pushing this agenda. He's right up there with them, but he's not that intelligent to try to pull this off. So other people are behind the scenes truly implementing this, putting it in his head, doing everything, because he is not a smart man to try to pull this off. But again, listen to this video and we'll talk about it shortly.
So they restaff the government, or they staff the government like any new administration does. These individuals are not just sort of, it's not just like a repository of resumes. They actually vetted them to make sure they never said anything opposed to Trump, that there was full loyalty. And when you think about why that matters, especially in what they're planning to do, I mean, one of the things that Russ Vought is advocating for is the elimination of all the post-Watergate norms in order to weaponize the DOJ. And he also is somebody that's advocating for deploying the military against U.S. citizens in order to quench dissent or protests. So when you have a guy like John McEntee and that database, part of the pre-vetting isn't just, they check off all the boxes in terms of like their professional skills. It's also that, they're sufficiently loyal that they will allow us to do all these things that otherwise would be illegal or not allowed to be done.
And the thing is, you can't say that enough. And I want you to say more about that, because you're talking about deploying the U.S. military. Remember, Mark Esper, who was Donald Trump's Secretary of Defense for a while, told him, no, you cannot shoot American citizens. You can't have the military shoot American citizens. He's going to replace people in the Department of Defense with people who will say you can, and that you can deploy the military against protesters, that you can arrest journalists for reporting things that Donald Trump doesn't like, that sort of thing, right?
That is exactly right. One of the things that Russ Vought did after he sort of left the administration in this sort of interregnum period that he's had, and has been referenced with that 180-day agenda, is that they have been building out the legal documentation, or what they consider to be the legal documentation, to justify internally the deployment of the military. I know it sounds hysterical. How can we possibly? This sounds so outrageous. No, this is part of the plan. Like that, they literally wrote a plan down and then prepared all the supporting documentation so that they could check off that box. And then this is where the personnel police comes in. They're making sure they have the right people to implement it. Russ Vought gave a speech where he talked about the fact that he was planning on doing this, or at least to have the resources ready so that if there was sufficient blowback, they could deploy it. And I just want to put a bow on it to note that one of the through lines here is why they want to sort of, it's not just revenge against their political opponents. That obviously gets a lot of fear. But the part that always stands out to me is that the rationale for why they need to do all these things is to end multiculturalism in America. That's not my term. Mm-hmm. That's what Russ Vought said. That the reason why you go after immigrants first, that you start to implement all of these big radical changes, is that this is the beginning of the end of multiculturalism in America.
What are your thoughts on this? And let me read the definition of multiculturalism. The view that cultures, races, and ethnicities, particularly those of a minority groups, deserve special acknowledgement of their differences within a dominant political culture. So that is the definition of multiculturalism. So if you listen to the video and pay attention to what he was saying, basically the Trump administration wants to come in and dismantle everything that has to do with our culture, races, and our ethnicities. They want to take all of that away from people like you and I, Black people, and the people that's here, the immigrants. They want to snatch all that away from people, send them back where they came from, and basically just have them as the dominant race, white people, no one else. Take away Black people rights, everything that was put in place for us. For example, we already see how DEI is rolling. Everybody is starting to pull back from that. So that is the beginning of them doing this. This is the beginning of it. And if you pay attention to what the guy said, this is the way to start the beginning of getting all the immigrants out of the state of the United States, send them back where they came from. That is the start of the cycle of getting everything in place, where it would be strictly white dominance for white people. Basically, take away everything that was put in place for Black people, and then of course the immigrants. This is the start of everything, pretty much. So, like my 13-year-old grandson said, when the election was over and Trump had won, this was the first thing he said. He said, "Grandma, Trump just wants to come in and dismantle everything that has been in place for everyone." Everyone. And this is a 13-year-old. This is what he said, and this is basically what he is wanting to do, the start of it. Multiculturalism. He wants to dismantle everything for Black people, the immigrants, all of that. So basically, going back hundreds of years where we didn't have any kind of rights to do anything on. This is what he wants to do, basically. He don't want for us or anyone else to get any kind of help whatsoever, pretty much. Bottom line, no help for anyone. They are the dominant race, pretty much. So comment below and tell me what your thoughts are on this, because this is something. This is really, really something, and I'm pretty at a loss. I'm at a loss of words right now, but it's just the gall of these people to think that they can just come in and just do all of these things to other people like we are nothing. Like we are absolutely nothing. But comment below and tell me what your thoughts are on this. Again, and I hate to keep saying this. This is what you guys voted for. The people that voted for him, the people that didn't vote at all. This is something that we all are going to have to deal with. But comment below and tell me what your thoughts are, and I'll see you in the next video.